I was just showing you some of the easy chords.
Yeah, some power chords.
Yeah. Basically, that's one of the first things that most electric guitar players learn is power chords. So if you do what we call the open position power chords, where the lower note of the chord is an open string, which means no fingers in the frets.
Okay.
Then all we would do is you can play a two-note power chord by putting your first finger, your index finger, on the second fret of the fifth string. And that's the fifth string, and when you push down, you want to be right next to the fret.
Okay.
Then with your right hand, hold your pick between your thumb and your index finger, and with the point facing inward, of course. Although, believe it or not, I've had some students that play backwards. Yeah, they play with the thick edge of the pick.
Huh.
And then strum the top two strings, 6 and 5 together. There you go. Now do that again. That's it. Yeah, it sounds like we're not quite in tune together, but that's okay. Good. Now you can do the next chord, and the first chord there is actually an E power chord.
Alright.
Okay, so E, and come down to the next two strings, and do the same thing. So your first finger is going to press on the fourth string now, second fret, and you're going to strum fifth and fourth strings together. There you go. Now go down one more, and play fourth and third together. Good, try it one more time. Good, and what you want is, when you play the fourth string, you want your pick to go through so that it hits the next string. Yeah, that's it. Now, one of the tricks to this is learning to let your index finger mute the string that's below it, in this case. Now, a lot of times when you're first learning, you're trying to learn basic chords like E, A, and D, correspond to the power chords that you're playing. And normally there you're trying not to mute other strings. So with E chord, an A chord, and a D chord, the goal is to make sure that all the strings sound out, all the ones that you're supposed to hear. But with power chords, you really only want to hear two notes, or three in some cases. So the way to do it is to cheat a little bit and let your index finger mute the string that's below it. That's really important. Get to that down the road. Now, let's turn those two-note power chords into three-note power chords. A very easy thing. So instead of just playing the fifth string with your first finger, flatten it out and use this part of your fingertip to play the fifth and fourth strings together. And now, with your right hand, strum sixth, fifth, and fourth. There you go. Very good. Now come down and do the same thing on the next three sets of strings there. So on fifth, fourth, and third, you're going to play an A power chord. Right, good, yeah. Gotta let your pick. Right. Okay, now the next one, we're going to have to change the pattern a little bit. So come down one more string. Okay. And in this case, go ahead and flatten your finger down. Let's see what happens. Strum 4, 3, and 2. Kind of get a funny sounding chord.
Yeah.
So instead of playing it the way that we did the E and the A power chords, you have to push here on the third string, and then use either your middle finger or your ring finger to play on the third fret of the second string. And that's just because of the way the guitar is tuned, that you have to change the pattern a little bit, or the finger, the shape of the chord. Now strum 4, 3, and 2 together. And that's going to make your D power chord there. Now, here's the really nice thing. If you put your middle finger on the first string, second fret, same as this finger, so on the first string on the bottom, and then put this finger back where it was, you actually have a whole D major chord now. So strum the first four strings. Starting from here.
Okay.
Starting through this one. Down one more from here. Good. Now, I'm hearing that, so that means you're fretting everything correctly. So that's related to the shape of the power chord that we would do there. Okay? And that's one of the first steps, learning your open power chords. Now the next step is, let's turn them into regular major and minor chords. Okay? So instead of pushing here with one finger and only playing the top three strings, 6th, 5th, and 4th, you're going to actually use your middle finger to play on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and then your ring finger to play on the 4th string, 2nd fret. So back up a little bit so that they both can fit in. You have to make room for that finger, so that one has to cheat a little and be back off the fret. Now, instead of strumming just the first 3 strings, strum all 6. Perfect. That's an E minor chord. Okay, and what you want to do is train your ear to hear the difference between minor and then E major, which you can achieve by just adding your index finger to the 3rd string. So down the E. There you go. Good. One more time, strum that chord. Good. Now, on that chord, go ahead and strum each string one at a time, starting from 6 down to 1. See what you can do to get that last one to come out. Just part of your hand is probably touching. Okay. So sit up straighter with your guitar facing out like this, towards me. There we go. That'll help a lot. Okay, now strum. Still that one, yeah. Good. Try bringing your thumb down here. Bring your thumb down the neck, down the back. Yeah, drop your wrist. Now still get your arm up off your leg. That's it. Good. See where my arm is? Not like this. And my thumb is down just a little further. Pretty good. So, the key with chords is that it takes time to get your fingers to curl enough to where they're pressing down where they need to press hard enough to where they don't get a buzz, but to where they're also not interacting with the other strings. You know, if you're muting one of the strings with your finger, you just roll it over and try to keep the shape, but then your bottom of your hand comes up and touches the first string, so it just takes practice. So when I first learned chords, I just would pick one chord and work on it until it was clear. Now E minor is the easiest chord to learn for most people, so that's why I start with that one. Okay, so I have a whole chord chart that I've designed to learn the basic chords and make them easier than the way that most books teach. Now, let's go ahead and try that one more time. So you had E minor, E major. Now do the power chord again, the 3-note E power chord that we learned.
Okay.
Okay, so that finger is going to lay flat and cover both the 5th and the 4th string, and then strum together. And you're going to strum 6, 5, and 4. Now do this one. Difference?
Yeah.
The difference between the sound is that this can be used for more just, hard rock playing, something like that. Whereas a major chord or a minor chord, you're going to strum a little differently, but it has the same effect. Both of them are just part of rhythm playing, rhythm guitar playing the accompaniment usually. And then you'll also, typically in a band, have a lead guitar, too, which you'll get to down the road. Most people normally start with chords on guitar, and then you can always learn notes and the things that you learn with more traditional teachers down the road. That's the way most guitar players learn. Although a lot of people never stick with it long enough to get the notes really down. But even if you just learn a little bit of that, it helps. Just learning your notes, which is something else that we'll learn when we come back from another lesson. You'll learn about learning the natural notes and then scales and things, and eventually learning the notes up the neck. But that all takes time. So it's easier to start with chords because you learn the shapes and the feel, and you get your fingers going, you get those calluses on your fingertips so it doesn't hurt as much. Yeah, those are all things we talked about last time.